Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about the 3 biggest mistakes I see with language learners and their language learning strategies. So language learning strategies or study skills are things that help you learn efficiently, quickly and enjoyably. But unfortunately most of us as language learners probably could do a little bit better at having positive learning strategies. If you've got good strategies, you're going to be able to learn quickly and more enjoyably. If your language learning strategies are not that great, you might find that learning English is frustrating or difficult or time consuming. And maybe if you had some better strategies, it would be a more enjoyable process. So the first common mistake that I see is not reviewing or not reviewing well. So reviewing language is a whole huge area that I'm going to talk about a lot next month in April. But when we learn a language, we are presented with so much new information all the time. And it's so hard for us. It's hard for me too. There's so many new words and there's so many new phrases. I haven't got time. I haven't got time to review all of this. But we need to review. So at the very least, you should be reviewing 3 times a week. Preferably, you should be doing some review every time you study, even if it's only for a few minutes. If you don't have a system for reviewing language, how are you going to remember it? How are you going to remember phrasal verbs if you don't review them? You can't. So you've got to have systems for reviewing language. A nice one is a spiral review system. So you get 5 new words and you learn them and you review them one day, then you review them the next day, then you leave it for 3 days, then you come back to them 5 days later. So each time you are reviewing the words further and further apart in time. But absolutely you need to be reviewing, and you need to be reviewing regularly. The second mistake that I see is how to deal with new vocabulary. Now I had a student quite recently, she's C2, very, very good English student, excellent language, no problems. And we were doing something, reading something, and there was a new word that she didn't know. And even though we were on Zoom, I can see that she's got her phone and she's like looking in the phone trying to get the new word. This is terrible, especially at C2. At C2, it's really kind of unforgivable. You don't want to be dealing with new language with Google Translate. No. So you need firstly to be able to accept that you're not going to understand all the words. You're just not, okay? By the time you get to C1, C2 and you're reading difficult stuff, there is likely to always be new language, and you need to accept this fact. However, you also need to be able to deal with it. So sometimes we can kind of guess the meaning of a word from the context it's in. Sometimes it might not even be that important anyway, so who cares? And, you know, if you're doing a reading exercise or a listening exercise and there's a new word, don't interrupt your reading and listening just because of the new word. Do your task and then come back to the new language. And don't confuse skills work with vocabulary work. They are different. And the last thing that I would talk about is is being able to prioritise. So many of us, and I absolutely include myself, struggle with prioritising. You know, we are so busy, we've got so much to do. How do we organise it? How do we make that choice of what's important and what's not? Well, I can't help all of you with your study plans in a video, but a great question that can cut through that sense of overwhelm and panic is, what is one thing I can do right now that's going to move me forwards? Just one thing. And by just choosing a thing, you've limited your options so much that you force yourself to take action, because the big problem with overwhelm is that it can lead to procrastination. Oh, I can't cope, don't want to do it anymore, I can't. And by making yourself take a step, you push yourself through that block. So there you are, those are the three most common problems I see: not reviewing well, not being able to deal with new language, and not being able to prioritise. If you develop some strategies to help you with those three areas, you're going to be doing great. My name is Sarah, I'm an English teacher and language anxiety coach. I help people overcome the fear of speaking and using English. Thank you for watching.